Happy Labor Day. I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, your pet's ally. Hi, whose head you can just barely see is helping me today. And so I hope you're having a great one so far. So, again, we're having our Labor Day sale uh, up through midnight tonight because today's the 6th. There's a 50% discount on consults and all the digital products, which you guys already have access to, plus 20% off on a lot of the other products too. So yes, and you're right. You're not being greedy, Pam. I don't know if this is from the follow up, but yes, you're right. It's 50% off with the sale, so it'd be 99 bucks and not 150. And Paul, and so you're right because I had forgotten we did a 50% discount on the consoles, so it's 99 bucks and. But normally for Ipets Ally members, you would get a $50 discount on any consultation. So that's kind of the deal. I've reached out to Paul. He should be reaching out to you to get you fixed up. Um, but here's the poop question. So this is interesting, and I think it, it's what I would do is mash the beans up because what's happening is if they're coming out whole, he's just not able to digest them. Um, but it sounds like the increased fiber actually things went beautifully. And then now you have a couple of things to sort out. Um, is it that the salmon is a problem and the lentils or whatever's in that batch of food, or coincidentally, as you said, you had given heartworm meds the 2nd of September and then the milk thistle starting on the 4th of September. And so it's like, is this, which is this? And this is hard to sort out. So this is where a diary is super useful because you can write all this stuff down as you have been, obviously. And then what I would do is just kind of mash up the beans or even make them into a paste and feed those. And sounds like he's gained the weight back, which is awesome. But I have a feeling that the increased fiber in the beans is actually helping him quite a bit, but it may be too much. So you may have to use half the amount of the beans that I suggested earlier. So I hope that makes sense. Um, Now, Mr. Bear, eating more stuff. Bettina, great to see you walking these guys. Um, this bandage is really kind of weird, so I'm not sure how they put it on. Sometimes they will. Um, Tack it down with sutures, and but most of the time they're going to just use a tape, but it's hard to tell from this photo kind of what's what. So I would just kind of pry around the edges and see if you can get this to kind of lift up gently, and otherwise I'd give them a call back. That's an unusual kind of way to stick a bandage on. So So, Bettina, if you haven't gotten that off, then give him a holler and see what's up with that, or if he's not taking it off in the process. And Jamie, so sorry to hear you got COVID, but I'm glad to hear that you are getting through and getting better faster with the monoclonal antibody infusion, and glad your husband's had only mild symptoms. Um, and sounds like Mr. Willie is actually doing super. And he's on berberine complex. And it is supposed to kill yeast, but here's the interesting thing too, it also kills everything else in the gut. And so I'm kind of wondering if some of these changes are coming as a result of that. Um, then it'll be interesting to see what type of herbal she's added in for the paws to help clear. So likely because we're kind of going on the theory that he's clearing infection, I would see what happens. Either the formula is either gonna push harder, so you may see some of these other things like, um, more GUIs, more ear issues, more because you're already starting to see some yeast in the ears and groin area. Um, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. And then too, I mean, with the Palladia, that's going to create some other issues too. And then Susie, with your Dally Pyrenees guy, um, yeah, 90 pounds once his leg is stronger and he eats more. Um, I think, for him, it just depends. I mean, pictures would be super useful. Has he got a lot of muscle wasting? Where is the fracture exactly? Is it through the center of the leg? Is it through a joint? How is his poop? Kind of what meds has he been on? What I would definitely go with is just, he's a young dog, so he's going to heal really quickly. But what I would do, especially if the fracture was through a joint, is add in some sort of a joint supplement, either ArthroSoothe or ArthroEase Gold. Probably ArthroEase Gold will be fine for him because he likely doesn't have any food sensitivities. And then I would go for see if you can find uh, a group that has an underwater treadmill. This is a situation where once the wound has healed from surgery, this really would be one of the best options in terms of getting the muscle built up more quickly. And then short of that, there's several on the ground rehab options available. Um, as far as going, what that means is to me is taking like incline, decline walks in a very controlled fashion, working through things that like a wobble board, something of that nature. Sorry, we'll do this so you can actually see my hand going. So where he's having to correct course and shift weight off and on each side. Wobble boards have been super useful. You can do that with a piece of plywood over a Bosu ball. So it's super easy to do at home. And, start with the front end, the unaffected leg. I think it was um, it's one of the rear legs because you've said femur in there a couple of times. So get balance good up front first to develop strength through the pectorals, the shoulders, and the back. And then once they give you the clearance, then start working on the rear end as far as balance and things of that nature. So I think this is it. There was a question about treats somewhere. From May's question last week about the turkey treats. So, I mean, you've got what you've got, and I think it's okay to use them. I wouldn't get more. And as Lolly said, you can use a dehydrator. And then if you head over to the website and just search treats, there's a recipe for peanut butter dog treats, which obviously is not a great plan for Spirit right now. But the DIY healthy treats for pets are how to make a dehydrated protein treat without having a dehydrator. So you can check that out, May. And that's what I got. So you guys have a great week. I'm glad everybody is doing well. Jamie, I'm so sorry you got COVID, but I hope you're recovering. I'm just out of curiosity, I'd be interested to know if you chose to be vaccinated or not. We're seeing a lot of people with the vaccine. Oh, I'm sorry, Pam, I missed that. So I guess there's a lot of people with the vaccine that are still getting um, COVID. So as far as how to proceed, I would reduce the amount of um, beans that you're giving by half and continue with the oil and just kind of watch what happens with his stool over the uh, over the next day. Gosh, sorry, I refreshed the feed and I can see these other questions now. So Pam, do half the beans, kind of mash them up so that they're easier for him to get to, and then continue with the oil since you've already gotten his weight back up and see where that takes you. Um, and then Janice is asking about understood. So yeah, so go with half the beans and and then add those in, and then add the extra oil in because that seems to have worked. Alternatively, if you've got 4 or 5 days before you have to make the batch, just go through another 24 hours of um, yes, and that's kind of the other thing too. So go through another round of this sort of strategy with a smaller amount of beans with them pure, kind of mashed open, and see what happens with the stool. So see if you can chalk up the stool being weird because of the heartworm prevention slash milk thistle, or whether it really was the bean fiber. And then since you realized you were feeding him less, uh, then I would increase the volume because he's getting less from the table, and then add a little bit of oil plus the smaller amounts of beans if that pans out. So I hope that makes sense. And then Janice is asking about HeartGuard and how much milk thistle and how long. Rosie's pretty tiny, I think less than 20 pounds, so I would use something on the order of about, uh, usually you can get 150 milligram milk thistle. Exactly, Janice. Um, you can get a 150 milligram capsule of milk thistle over the counter. And so what I would do is give a half a capsule uh, once a day for a week. So HeartGuard today, start the milk thistle tomorrow morning, 24 hours later, because it takes 24 hours for the majority of the HeartGuard to get through the system. And when you give it, you want it to do its very best. We don't want to speed up clearing it. So for 1 week post HeartGuard. And I think, is that it? Let me make sure I haven't missed something else. Um, yeah, exactly. So Susie, because he's such a young guy, I just don't think you need to give that much in the way of supplements. And let me just make sure Hannah hasn't sent me something else. Yep, so I think we are good to go. Um, so until next week, you all have a wonderful week. Enjoy the day off with your families, and take good care. I'm Dr. Ruth Roberts, your pet's ally. Thanks.